fish on your line. Your day's just begun. The world of American angler, on lakes and on streams. Now you're living the good life. Catch the one of your dreams.
Hi, I'm Pat Trainer, and welcome to the American Angler. Today we're fishing the world-class San Juan River in northwestern New Mexico. And since I've decided to take the day off, have some fun, and just go fishing, your host for today's show will be Dave Cohen of Arizona Outdoors. And your guide will be a gentleman that grew up on this river, Mr. Paul Faust. And our special guest is Leon Chandler, the president of Cortland Lines. If you like catching quality trout from a great river, stay with us. You're going to like this one. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy today's show. They'll be right back. I'm going fishing.
Normally, we're pleased just to be where trout live. Today, we will have the added excitement of fishing and catching trout in one of the premier tailwaters in the United States, the San Juan River. Located in northwestern New Mexico, where the Anasazi Indians, also referred to as the Ancient Ones, used to dwell, the San Juan is home to some truly trophy-sized rainbows, cutthroat, and brown trout. The water temperature, even during the summer, rarely exceeds 45 degrees, ideal for trout and their abundant food sources. This part of the San Juan flows from the base of Navajo Dam, built in 1962. This remarkable structure remains one of the largest earthen dams in the United States. The river can be fished either by wading or floating the several miles of quality water. Today, we will be wading an area called the Upper Flats. We're coming into some of the areas now, Paul, I understand, where fish will use to move up into their spawning areas.
Yes, they're going to use this whole riffle almost like a fish ladder. There's times when you'll see them going zigzag crossways through these riffles and up into these pools above us where they'll spawn in the gravel.
Almost look like a salmon run.
Exactly. There's times when you can look down from one of these upper pools and see at any given time 8 to 10 fish moving up through the riffle. So
will they hold like salmon, or will they just continue to move up?
Well, they'll hold for a moment until they get their breath again, so to speak, and then they'll move up to the next step, hold for a little while, and move right on up.
So you're pretty much chasing them.
Yes, exactly. These are very slick pools. What we can do here, Dave, we may want to start in right along this edge and make a few casts, and then kind of just gradually work our way across into this other tongue, and then on over.
We've got a lot of water. Down to them or up to them? Or?
I would probably make all quartering up casts to start with.
Okay.
Any technique in here will work. These fish this time of year are very hungry, very aggressive fish. Usually no doubt about the stripe. They really move the indicator.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to step right down below you here, and I'll let you go ahead and start in right on this little tongue, and I'll start right in this little seam here below you. We're just going to gradually work through these little calm areas and walk on across and keep fishing these little places like this all up through here. I'm going to take a few steps over now. Hitting the bottom here a little bit too. These fish are in very shallow water right now. They come up into these gravelly areas and they dig out a little bed, or sometimes they're called reds. There's a big rainbow that just fed right there in front of us. Just saw him roll. I'm going to try to put a cast right over the top of him here. You can spot these fish a lot of times and put a cast right over the top of them and take them, but they won't move very far to eat your flies. These are tiny little flies, and there's so many of them in the water that they don't have to move far to eat them. See if I can find him again here. A lot of times you can fish a little pool like this and not take a fish out of 50 casts, come back and make one cast and take a fish. And the reason is you probably didn't get your flies right over the top of him. So you have to vary your cast, where you put it in the current, until you get the cast that goes right over the top of them, the one they want.
Talk about practicing what you preach.
This looks like a sizable male. The reason I'm playing him kind of light here, I've got him on 6X tippet, which is 3-pound test. Looking at the size of this fish, I'm going to guess him to be probably 3.5, 4-pound fish. And he can break it real easy. You get that rod real low and to the side like that, you can break their equilibrium and ease them in anywhere you want to go with them. I'm going to go ahead and take my gloves off and get ready to land him here. A lot of these fish will play kind of possum with you until you get them in close where they get visual range of you, and then they're out of here like rockets. Let's see if we can ease him up here. Definitely doesn't want to come into the shallow water. It's a big male. This one has a few flies actually stuck in him. Somebody else's. In with him. He took the little midge larva pattern. You want to be sure and wet your hands before you handle them. Ease him back around here. We'll get a little bit of a look at him. Notice these little scars on the side. This is from rubbing up against other males. A lot of the males push each other around as he gets close to spawning season. Okay. He's actually still very strong. We didn't play him very long. I'm just going to support him here for a minute. There he goes. He'll hold in that area for a few minutes till he regains his strength a little bit, and then he'll be right back up the riffle. That's about an average size fish. Most of the rainbows here average about 16 to 19 inches, so they're good sized rainbows. We're going to go out and see if we can catch another one here.
It looks like Dave's got a good one on. As the weather got colder, I think the fishing got hotter.
We've got these little fronts that are blowing through right now, and they're cold. We've got these little snowstorms that you see intermittently hitting us. Pretty soon this one will probably clear out and it'll get kind of sunny again, lighten up a little. They really don't affect the fishing. If one thing, they can help enhance the fishing. We seem to have heavier insect hatches during bad weather. The exact reason for that is anybody's question. I've asked a number of biologists why, and there's various theories, barometric pressure, how weather affects the way fish feed. One thing that the weather is doing for us right now is it's disguising us somewhat, so we're able to get very close to the fish. and they're not quite as wary as they normally would be on a sunny day. So it's definitely helping us out. I think we're all a little bit cold right now, but we'll trade to take the cold for the fishing that we're getting. We're having some excellent fishing.
How about this Faust? He's at it again.
You're making a pretty hardy run here. If you look at him when he's rolling around out there, you can see how red they are. When the males start to spawn, they turn real bright colors like that. I think they're probably as beautiful this time of year as any time. This fish is not done yet by a long shot. Oh, we're going down the riffles here. I think we've just about got him now. He's getting a little tireder. Famous last words. It's amazing how much pressure you can put on these fish with these light tippets. Most people wouldn't believe that you could catch a rainbow this size on a line this light. I'm gonna walk down here to him and see what he does. Yeah, he's still pretty lively. Try to ease him over here towards the bank. Impressive thing about this particular fish is he's got a lot of girth to him. Here we go. Let's see here where we're at. He's been around the block a little bit. Okay. Notice the girth on this fish. Just a beautiful rainbow. I'm gonna lay this rod down right here. Ease him back out in the current. Okay. You face them upstream and then rock them very gently. It forces water back through their gills. Actually, in essence, you're resuscitating them. Let's see what he does there. There he goes. Oh yeah, he's still real strong. All right, let's see if we can get another one here. My hands are a little bit cold. That water temperature is about 43, 44 degrees. So if I look like I'm in pain a little bit, I am just a little.
The American Angler returns in a moment.
Paul, what are you looking at here?
Well, Leon, what we've got here, these are the actual insects that we're imitating with our flies in various stages here. Here we've got some of the midge larvae. You can see them crawling around on the rocks. And here are actually some of the midge pupa. They make a little case around themselves when they go into the pupal stage, and then as they hatch and become winged adults, they shoot out of these little cases, very similar to the caddis.
Do they swim to the surface?
Yes, they do. Certainly do. There's a few of them. These are actually called black fly larvae here. They have a little bulbous end on one end. We have several types of midges. We have black fly, which are actually diptera, and we also have chironomids, which is kind of a general classification of midges. And we look over here on this rock by the reels, and then on this other little rock, and we can see the tiny adults, winged adults, flying around.
So these have gone through this whole stage, and now they're ready to start it all over again.
Exactly. And what you'll see these winged adults going into little groups or balls. These are mating clusters. Sometimes there'll be as many as 100 midges in a cluster. And these fish will key these clusters as they come floating down. They'll kind of pile up, say, in a back eddy or someplace where they have time to collect. And as they float down, these fish will key these big clusters and eat them. And that's really when the winged adult becomes important. Right now, like I say, most of the fish that we've caught today have all been on larva and pupa patterns. But these little winged adults can also be very important. In very calm, smooth water where the fish have time to look at them, they will rise up and take these little tiny flies. We're talking about, again, a fly that's from anywhere from a size 20 down to a 28 or a 30. So they're very tiny flies.
Well, there should be fish lying right in the end of that run. And what I'd like to do is to get that nymph to float down through that rift as though it's unattached. And I hope that he would move and take it. I'm absolutely amazed at these fish, that fish of this size would make the effort to move and take these little tiny nymphs. But they do. See, ideally, I want that nymph to come downstream on a dead drift, as though it's unattached to anything. And I just keep laying it in there right in front of his nose, and and the take is very, very gentle. So that's the reason we have the strike indicator, so that we can see any unnatural movement of that line and leader. Sometimes we catch the bottom, but sometimes it's a fish. And doing this kind of fishing, we use a very short line, because we must have control of the line. If we try to make long casts in this situation, we would not have that control. He took it. Can't see. Pretty fish. Beautiful fish. There he goes. One of life's greatest pleasures, releasing a rainbow like that.
The American Angler returns in a moment.
Anytime you have the opportunity to fish one of the top 5 tailwater trout fisheries in the U.S. and share the day with good company and expert fishermen like Paul Faust and Leon Chandler, you'd drop everything and go. The San Juan is fishable 12 months a year if you don't mind an occasional snowstorm. Whether your preference is catch and release or keeping a fish or two to eat, there's a stretch of the river with regulations to your liking. Hopefully, thoughtful management will keep the river as productive as it was today. We thank Paul and Leon for joining us. If you plan to visit the San Juan and hire a guide, Paul Faust of Rocky Mountain Anglers should be your choice. If you just want company, call me.